He really did. And he went to the nearest house and he knocked on the door and he said, "Ma'am, I'm afraid I ran over your cat." And she said, "Well, what did he look like?" So he went like this. And she says, "No, I mean before you hit him." Oh, he said, "Oh, like this." And so anyway, I don't know why I said that. Okay.
I like him. His morals. He should be ourselves.
I think he's funnier than Mr.Lewis.
Think of to tell you that might help you is whenever you take a test, do your best, forget the rest, then head west. But don't live in a bird's nest. Wear a leather vest, wash with zest, brush your teeth with Crest, and don't be a pest.
Hey, that went hard. Hey. He should be a rapper.
Notice this guy wearing his Kleenex.
Yeah, I got it for free.
That's a Kleenex?
Yeah.
Oh, give me one.
That's a Kleenex.
I know you
mine for a bit if you want.
I want a Kleenex.
Oh,
I don't want that one. I don't want that one.
He looked at me and said, "Well, the other teacher did." I said, "Well, I don't have a Band-Aid." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Because I'm not the band teacher."
Oh, Band-Aid.
Oh, that was so funny.
And then another kid came in and said, I'm bored. I said, "You're bored?" He said, "Yes, I'm bored." I said, "Well, don't come to school tomorrow if you're bored." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you say you're bored, so you don't need to come to school." He said, "Where am I supposed to go?" I said, "To a lumber yard." Okay. So that's good. And I don't know if I should tell this one.
You should. Yeah, go ahead.
I should tell this one. I grew up on a cattle ranch.
Obviously.
In Louisiana.
Oh.
And after my older brother left for college, I was in charge and had a bunch of cows to feed. So he got one of his friends to help me. Well, the only thing was his friend got to the barn before I did because I had to go pick up all my little brothers and sisters. So we went to the barn. He would be down the barn loading the trailer. And I'd always come in. My mother would have some cake or some cookies or something for me, a sandwich. And I would grab it and I'd run down the barn because we didn't have much time till dark. And we were usually out way after dark feeding the cows. And so what I did, I'd get down there and Don Collins was his name, Don would say, "What have you got there?" I said, "Well, I got cookies, Don." And he would run down and take them from me and eat them. He'd push me down, grab them and eat them. Well, one day I came home and my mother had given me a ham sandwich and I was walking down to the barn and I had an idea. And back then I wore my pants up to here. And
Swag.
Yeah, I wore my pants up here. And I had big buck teeth with braces. And whenever I got an idea, this is what my brothers and sisters always noticed I did. Anytime a bright idea came, I always looked just kind of like this with my pants up here. But when an idea came that I thought was real neat, I'd go, Well, I was walking out to the barn with my ham sandwich, and I always do remember this. About just gotten out of the house, a little ways down, I went, an idea, and I turned around, and I said, Don's going to try and get my sandwich. So I ran back and got 2 more pieces of bread, and on the way to the barn, I stopped, and there were some cow patties. Oh. And so I put some cow patty material on the 2 pieces of bread. And I went down there, and Don was up in the hay, and he looked down and said, "What you got there?" And I was munching on my good ham sandwich. I said, "Don, I got me 2 ham sandwiches, and you ain't getting none of them." And he said, "That's what you think." And he'd come running down from the hay, and I went with my pants up here. I was running. And he bulldogged me in the barn lot, and my good sandwich got ruined. It went down under me and just got all messed up, but I held my secret sandwich out, protected it. And I remember Don got on top of my back and pushing down hard on me, and he grabbed my head, me by the hair.
Oh, wait, hair's missing?
Yeah, that's well, no, he turned back. I remember I turned around like this. And he turned me around real fast, and he grabbed the sandwich and I ate it. And then green things started coming out the side, and he was in shock. And he was in such shock that he didn't know what he had just eaten, and he kind of let go of his grip. And I got up and I was running. You talk about fast, chewy Louie. I was running for my life to the house, and he caught me halfway to the house, and he picked me up by my belt loops, and then my collar of my shirt, and he just used me like a vacuum cleaner and rubbed my face through every calcine in the house. I remember my face was just covered, my braces, and I went in and I walked in my house, and my mother looked at me and said, "How filthy." And she told me to go get cleaned up. So I went and cleaned up and brushed my teeth and everything. Then I went back out. And I forgot what I brushed it with. But she said to throw away my toothbrush. I said, "Mom, I didn't use my toothbrush. I used my little brother's." So anyway, I never did that again. That was stupid. I did some stupid things. Now, the other stupid thing I did growing up was when I got my first BB gun. I was in the 6th grade. Well, my older brother always shot me with the BB gun. I mean, I'd be running around with my pants up to my chest, and he would be shooting my legs, and he'd shoot my stomach, and I thought that was normal. I thought it was normal that you shoot people with BB guns. So I got my BB gun. We were working out in the fields that night, and I asked my brother, my best friend was there, I said, "Hey, John, would you take me to town tonight so I could shoot somebody?" He said, "Sure." And so that night we drove into town, and we turned, I think it was on, the streets were numbered 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I think he turned on 6th Street. And I looked up, and there was a guy under the street light, and he was just standing there holding a bucket. And I tapped my brother on the shoulder, and I said, "Could I shoot him?" He said, "Sure." And so he pulled up, and the guy was just sitting there, and the car pulls up, and he looks at my brother like, "What are you doing?" And then in the back seat was Chewy Louie. I was going, "Ooh." And I remember, I always knew you just shot people with BB guns either in the leg or the stomach at the most, because you didn't want to hurt them. And so I shot, and he went, "Ooh!" And he dropped the bucket. And I remember after I did, I was so happy. I went, "Ooh." And then we drove off. And I said, "Well, this is fun." So we drove on the next street, and there was a place where people were doing some dancing, and they weren't drinking Dr. Pepper. And I asked my brother, I said, "Is there any way I could just play with them with my BB gun?" He said, "Sure." And so I started shooting, and the people were dancing, and a BB would hit them, and then they'd jump. And then I heard something. People were saying not so nice things. They were saying bad words. Cars were cranking up, and they said that they were going to get us and hurt us. And I was in the back seat. My brother took off. Cars were coming after us. I was stuck back there. Because I thought I was gone that night.
Do you notice?
And he went through alleys. He went through back streets, everywhere. And it started raining, and he went into a spin. We ended up on the sidewalk in front of the police station. And the policeman didn't come out. My brother got out, and the policeman was leaning back in his chair asleep. But that scared me. I said, maybe you're not supposed to shoot people with BB guns. That's how I learned not to do that, but that was stupid. Well, then the next time I'm sitting in the back seat, and there's my brother in the front seat, and my best friend in the front seat, and they're talking, we're at a red light, and I have my new super duper powered water pistol. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and then in my view, in the windshield, comes this old man in a truck just turning. And I went, because I knew his window was down, he's fixing to pass me. And so he came by, and I remember I kind of got down with my new high-powered water gun, and he drove by, I went, and then he put on his brakes, and they squealed. And you know, because he had bad brakes.
I'm the brake.
And I was so happy because, you know, I got him with my water gun, and I was, and then I heard not so nice language coming from the pickup, and he was screaming, and he started backing up, And I remember I just sunk down in the seat, and my brother and my best friend didn't know what was happening. They were still sitting there talking. And as the bed of his truck came, the light turned green, and they took off, and I was saved. So I never shot anybody with a water gun either. Okay. Anyway, that's just a couple of stupid things I did. I did a lot of stupid things. I hope y'all are smarter than I am. Okay. So, anyway.